Hello, welcome to this FinGraphs podcast on Dukascopy TV. Today we're going to review Bitcoin following the sell-off that happened over the last few days. To do so, we will first start with a chart of Bitcoin, an investor's view over three time frames, a weekly graph for the perspective over the next few quarters, a medium-term daily graph for the perspective over the next few months, and a shorter-term hourly graph for the perspective over the next few weeks. On the weekly graph, we are still consolidating from the highs that were done in 2017. This consolidation has been able to start making higher lows from 2019 and seems to be gradually resuming its uptrend. For now, our indicators of trend are still heading down, but our risk index is very much oversold, which is quite promising to generate a new acceleration to the upside over the next few quarters. The daily may have already started in this uptrend. It did make it up to an intermediate top in August. It has since been correcting. We did have an exaggeration here on our envelopes touching each other, as well as on our risk index, which was in the overbought zone. The correction has been quite strong, making it back from pretty much 12,000 to 10,000. We believe it will find support pretty much towards our smaller envelope here, slightly below 10,000, and pretty much in the consolidation range here that we saw during May and June and the early weeks of July. In the meantime, the hourly is correcting, has seen a very strong sell-off last week. We believe that it's not quite over yet and could extend another few days. Our targets are between 1,000 and 9,337. The risk index is low, but not quite oversold yet. So we believe there's probably another couple, maybe 3 days of risk here before Bitcoin is able to plug a bottom, which could resume the uptrend, which we still see here on our daily graph. Focusing on this daily graph, yes, we believe that we do have support here towards the lower end of a smaller envelope, and that then this resume uptrend situation could lead us another month or so, pretty much towards late September, early October, potentially above the highs that were made in August, and eventually up to our impulsive targets to the upside towards 14,000. If we look at Bitcoin versus with other assets which have shown a similar dynamism over the last few months, we have here Bitcoin on the daily graph, the mini S&P on a daily graph, Euro US dollar on a daily graph, and gold on a daily graph, and the same instruments here on the hourly shorter term perspective. And we can see that all the trends for now are still trending up, trend indicators here, with positive target projections, potentially heading to new highs over the next few months. Here also, our timing is pretty much for these new highs to happen towards the end of September, early October. And for now, the risk index are still a bit overbought, but have started to consolidate and come back down into the range, at least on the euro, gold, or Bitcoin. The mini S&P does seem to remain a bit overbought still at the moment. Looking at the hourlies here, a few more days here, as we said on Bitcoin, potentially down to below 10,000 and eventually down to 9,300. If we look at the mini S&P, we might find support or initial support towards 3,200, at worst possibly down to 3,100. Also here over the next few days. Euro US dollar is probably heading towards, we believe, 116, eventually 115 over the next few days. And gold is already quite oversold also, but could still extend lower, below 1,900, eventually down to 1,800. But all in all, we believe that during the end of this week, we should be able to plug a bottom on most of these risk assets or on these anti-dollar assets, and that they should then resume their uptrend in light of the daily charts, which we see on the upper row here. We also look at Bitcoin versus Ethereum, and here we have compared Bitcoin, Ethereum, the ratio of Ethereum versus Bitcoin, and we've posted the euro again, which we believe has a strong resemblance to the ratio and to Ethereum itself. Similarly here, we've looked at all these instruments on an hourly basis, And we can see that the configurations are pretty much the same. And Ethereum, if we compare it to Bitcoin, does seem to be a high beta play here. We believe a high beta growth play at the moment. It is still slightly overbought here, but has already seen quite a nice correction. And we believe that also here, the lower end of our smaller envelope could be a good support here, slightly below where we are today. If we look at Ethereum itself, we're pretty much getting onto support. If we look at our hourly graph here, our envelopes are already touching each other, and our risk index is getting close to the overbought zone. Eventually, it could make it down to 3015. We'd be surprised if it does break down to 264. So 314, 264. The ratio is also moving lower, perhaps still over the next few days, but should also be oversold by the end of the week. So in general, still positive on Ethereum as we are on Bitcoin. It's currently correcting. Its ratio, it's correcting versus Bitcoin. But also here, towards the end of the week, we believe it could find support and start resuming its uptrend, possibly towards the end of the month and perhaps early October. Thank you very much and have a very good week.